What is going on, everybody? Nitro Freak here, back with a live stream with Philly.500 and a box right now. YTDarius. We'll figure out his camera situation eventually, but we are here to talk about the absolutely horseshit abysmal game that we saw on Sunday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys absolutely kicked the dog shit out of us, and we are here to discuss what should be fixed with this team or if there shouldn't be anything fixed at all. I personally think that everyone, top to bottom, the roster, the coaches, they should have all been on the hot seat on Sunday, because you go down there, you guarantee a victory. After the Dallas Cowboys lost to the hopeless Jets, who lost 33-0 last night at home, you go down to Dallas, where you could win, you could lose, you never really know. But to get absolutely destroyed within the first 3 minutes of the game and give two fumbles. What the hell is up with that? What do you guys think? I want to hear you guys' responses, your reactions. I'm going to start with Philly.500 first. What is up, Philly.500?
What's up, buddy? Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. It's great to be here again. I'm sorry that it has to be under such horrible circumstances of getting destroyed by them stinking Cowboys. Yeah, it was like I thought Minnesota game might be rock bottom for this team, and what they came out with after Doug said what he did, it was very disheartening. As we talked earlier, the first fumble, you knew once Goddard fumbled that ball, you knew, and they scored a touchdown, you knew the game was over. Yeah. You just saw the fight leave that team, and to me, look, I can understand losing a game tight. NFC East battle, but we didn't even show up, and I have a problem with that.
And there's one problem in particular that I had with that one fumble. It was the Marcus Lawrence strip sack, right?
No, I'm talking about the Goddard first. Well, the first one was the Goddard.
The first one was the Goddard. Yeah, I was talking about the Marcus Lawrence strip sack. I was so pissed after the Goddard one where they got it for the touchdown. I think it was on the same play. I can't even remember because I was just sitting there in my seat, and then all of a sudden they scored a touchdown. I walked down to go get a beer and then walk back up and sit there in my seat with my head down like this. I knew the game was over right after that first fumble. I just fucking knew it because we had no heart, we had no balls, and after a guaranteed victory that Doug Peterson pretty much said we were going to go down there and win, and then you come out like that, there was no way we were winning that game. And I was like, I came down here for this bullshit. Like, seriously, like, let me tell you Dallas fans something, all right? I hate the fuck out of you guys, but you guys have such a gorgeous stadium. It is by far the best stadium in the NFL, and not only the stadium, the city of Dallas is one of the more beautiful cities I've ever been to, and the people are
nice.
So nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Some of the best food. You guys did it really well down there, and thanks for the hospitality. I still hate the fuck out of you guys, but you guys played a great game, and I really appreciate everything you guys did around us. Besides the one fight that I filmed, that was pretty awesome. But
that was pretty funny.
Yeah, but yeah, I want to get Darius's opinion on the game, and hopefully he figures out his camera situation soon. If not, it doesn't matter. What's up, Darius?
What's up? Just to be safe, is everybody can hear me, right? Loud and clear?
Yep.
All right, it's going to be a voice. It's your conscience speaking. Anyways, first and foremost, Nitro Freak, man, I really, really apologize. Just I understand how it feels when you go on a great road trip, a great weekend that you're spending, and then the result comes out not what you expect. You come back just truly disappointed. I've experienced that several times. The 08 NFC Championship game, you're having a great weekend. Beautiful stadium, beautiful facility, the Cardinals where they play as well. And then you're hoping for an Eagles win. I mean, at least that team put up a fight, but it's just at the end of the day when you're leaving off of a great road trip, off of a loss, that's truly disgusting to go ahead and experience. And with that being said, this is almost scary. It reminded me of Chip Kelly days where we got blown out by the Buccaneers or something like that. And then a couple of days later, we got blown out by the Lions. Like, that is what it reminded me of, like, where you knew that team gave up. That team was just, all right, that's it for us. We're done. We're ready to go ahead and just move on from everything. Like, that was a vibe I was just completely getting, where once again, another slow start. We were just talking about it last week on here. No more slow starts. Well, once again, another slow start. Now, obviously, it was caused by fumbles this time. You're hoping to see something different. And I was honestly really glad that the offense started off the game. I was like, okay, it's about time. They got to be the one to set the tone because our defense, you saw how they were able to go ahead and with how they looked like matched up against Dallas's offense. They couldn't stop Ezekiel Elliott, which is another point that I definitely want to go ahead and get to as well. And then, the offense came out just 2 turnovers right away, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Like, if we already know that we don't have a defense, and then our offense just comes out and 4 turnovers, then this is going to be how this is how the game is going to be turning out to be. This is going to be the games, blowouts like this.
It's terrible.
It's
you
terrible.
nailed it right on the head. And you know what? For all the people saying, "Oh, Carson Wentz isn't the problem for this team," let me tell you something, guys. I was sitting there in my seat, and not only did Carson Wentz have the worst game he had in his career since the Cincinnati game back in 2016. That DeMarcus Lawrence strip sack, he had 4 seconds to throw the ball. All right. As an NFL QB, if you want to be considered elite, you have quarterbacks like Matt Ryan. I'll even consider him elite. Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, who's the MVP leader right now, Russell Wilson. These guys get the ball out in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 4 seconds is double that time. All right. You guys want to blame the offensive line for not doing their job? How about put some blame on Carson Wentz for not doing his job and getting the ball out? Even if it's not thrown into a receiver, throw it out of bounds. You know the pressure's coming. Wide receivers aren't getting open. You don't have all day to throw the ball. What are you doing just standing there? Why aren't you your wheels? I just don't understand where this guy's playing style has gone away since 2017. I'm not seeing the same guy that I saw in 2017. There's no more excuses that he's hurt anymore because he's not. All right. I want to see this guy go back to the same guy that he was in 2017. And right now, he's not even close to what he was. And he's a shell of himself, in my opinion. And until he proves to me that he could turn the clocks around and go back to what he was in 2017, I'll say he's a good quarterback, not even close to top 5. Not even close to top 5. Because that was an abysmal performance by Carson Wentz on Sunday. And he's got to change it around. He's got to.
Now, do you think that is possibly due to play calling as well? Because I'm like, the way how the team has just been now looking these last 2 weeks, I'm trying to go ahead and look more at this coaching staff and from what Malcolm Jenkins was even saying, what Malcolm Jenkins said today was even a lot more alarming on how the question was what we saw at the end of last year. What's the difference from what we saw at the end of last year to what we're seeing this year? And the fact that he single-handedly just talked about, well, we had Nick Foles and we changed up the offense, that kind of stuff. So what is the problem with our coaches then with Carson Wentz? Like, how come we cannot design plays where let's go ahead and, instead of trying to design plays to go downfield with 6'3", 6'4" wide receivers, why don't we just start designing plays for, quick out routes or quick slants, to just I don't mind honestly turning into a quick dink and dunk offense. I saw Tom Brady yesterday and he's, throwing it to, rather nobodies, which is why they traded for Mohamed Sanu today. You can see he's only holding on to the ball for like a second or two. Is that either one, that's either you can't really tell Carson to do that because that's not Carson's game, or 2, the coaches in their playbook, if it's just designed to go ahead and just aim down the field, whatever it is, they just got to go ahead and fix it, man.
Do you want to know why the offense is what it is with Carson Wentz? Because apparently with Nick Foles, they dumbed down the playbook because he can't throw in Carson Wentz's kind of system because Carson Wentz is smart, even though he went to a 1AA DAA school. All right. Even though he went to a 1TAA school, they provided a smarter system for Carson Wentz because he could do a lot more with the ball than Nick Foles did, even though Nick Foles had more success than Carson Wentz last year. I just don't get it. I don't get people. All right. And if the coaching is not working for Carson Wentz, maybe, just maybe, you got to use the same exact system and the same exact calls that you did for Nick Foles to fix things up a bit. And then maybe, just maybe, when he's catching on, switch it back to his style of the playbook. Because I'm so sick and tired of this stupid bullshit with the Foles and Wentz debate. All right. We have Carson Wentz right now. Use the playbook that fits Carson Wentz perfectly, or else, I don't know, trade him. I just don't know, because nothing is working right now. And it feels to me that Carson Wentz is pressing because another guy finish the job that Carson Wentz started, and Carson Wentz is still pissed off from that, so he's pressing. And I see it. I see it.
I couldn't disagree more.
Why is that?
I couldn't disagree more. And we have Nitro here, the priest of the Folesian Society. No, look.
Here we go.
I think you just way overreacted to everything Carson Wentz is. To say that he's a shell of his former self, when the only reason you've had any chances in all these games is because of his play. Okay? Oh, come on. The Atlanta game.
Not 2 days ago. Not 2 days ago.
No, not against Dallas. I agree. He even brought us back in Minnesota. I think that you underestimate how bad everybody around him is.
Mm-hmm.
How bad. Now, here's the thing that I do agree with you about. They don't have the personnel that fits what he does best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you talk about Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson holds the ball a lot of times and keeps the play alive. Mm-hmm. And he's got receivers to go downfield and make throws. How many times? I haven't seen anybody make any plays for Carson Wentz. I've seen Lockett for Russell Wilson. I've seen Mahomes have guys go up and get ball. I see it, but I don't see anybody helping this guy out at all, including the coaches. And what? Listen, you're talking about getting rid of the ball in 2 seconds. You're talking about those kind of things. Every defense is up on this team. They're up, challenging them to go downfield. They can't go vertical. Everything is tight. Every window he throws is tight because the defense plays up, because you have no deep threat. You have nobody that creates space. So to keep everything short is only going to play into a lot of defenses' hands. You got to try to go vertical. And when they do, you got guys alligator arming. You got for who, for what, 2.0. Yeah. So I understand the frustration. I understand he's not perfect because he's far from it. But, dude, I'm telling you, I think despite everything, he has been one of the few bright spots, minus the Dallas game in the first half of the Atlanta game. He's been one of the few bright spots, in my opinion.
All right. Number one, we talked before the show. Dallas lost to the New York Jets.
Yes.
They lost to the New York fucking Jets. And that one game against Atlanta that he played miserable in, that could have actually cost us the game because it was too late at that point, other than dropping out of Aguilar's hands.
The game winner. The game winner.
Yes. The Atlanta Falcons,
after coming back and giving us the win.
Yeah.
We lost the lead, right? And he went back and did it again.
Mm-hmm.
And Aguilar dropped it.
The Atlanta Falcons' one win came against us. One win came against us.
I know.
Maybe we're just not a good team.
Well, and there may be truth to that because there may be truth to that. I don't see Howie Roseman making any moves. Mm-hmm. Maybe they know it. Maybe they're getting ready to let it go, to let this thing burn down. Possibly.
I think as much as we wanted to try to think that, maybe they're ready for another run this year, I have a feeling that last year, that late season surge was we got everything that they can from just that Super Bowl run. They pretty much just – that was the last of what we're going to be able to go ahead and get from that whole Super Bowl team. And just going back to just, the players, the veterans. And, I mean, we're the second oldest team in the NFL. And for us to go ahead and have back-to-back games looking like this, I mean, that's straight up 100% on the players. Just honestly, that locker room is in shambles. I really don't see this team honestly coming together at this point. It's now like just the vibe you're getting with Lane Johnson saying how, people were late to meetings, and then Brandon Graham and Malcolm Jenkins were like, well, I would like to see Lane Johnson point that out. And then you have the whole anonymous source talking about Alshon Jeffrey, and then another anonymous source talking about not getting Jalen Ramsey. The locker room is in shambles. The coaching staff itself, we already know about Jim Schwartz and in his scheme like that. The whole defense is done. We have no linebackers, which, again, this goes back to the scheme because now LJ Fort is one of the best linebackers for the Ravens, and he is excelling for them. And it's amazing to see where. And again, knowing that Nigel Bradham got hurt, And I know Zach Brown said what he said last week, but damn it, he's one of our best run stop backers. And you saw what Ezekiel Elliott was able to do. 6 yards, 8 yards per carry. He was just driving down. And I'm like, well, what do we expect? We had Nigel Bradham, who's on a walking boot. I guess we try to go ahead and go to look at Zach Brown as pretty much the scapegoat from last week's debacle against the Vikings. And now we're just throwing out a bunch of young guys who, I mean, I don't – Nate Gary, he was a safety in college. He's not big enough to stay in the trenches like that. Grugier Hill, I mean, he's been banged up most of the year, so he's not 100% out there. So now what we were good at on defense, we're not even good at anymore. We lost another interior lineman in Hassan Ridgeway. So from being the best run defense now, you saw Dalvin Cook, the Vikings ran for over 120 yards on us. Ezekiel Elliott ran. The Cowboys themselves, Tony Pollard had a couple good runs on us as well. So now we don't even have a defense at all. Not like, well, okay, well, we can go ahead and at least stop the run and hopefully our pass rush can get to the quarterback. We cannot even say that because now we cannot even stop the run. And I don't want to. The disgusting part about it is that, I look at our next two opponents, and the only reason why I feel like we'll benefit from these next two opponents is because Trubisky and Josh Allen literally physically struggle throwing the football. They literally struggle throwing the football. They don't do no basic stuff. It's a struggle for them to go ahead and do the basic stuff of throwing the football and playing quarterback, which is why I feel like, well, we're probably going to go ahead and get back in this, but I don't want to see it right now because I don't think that this team really even has it. And honestly, this game against Buffalo is just going to be this game against Buffalo is going to be the final say.
All right, hey, go first because you obviously have to.
No, I was just thinking he was saying that those quarterbacks struggle, and I'm just thinking they haven't played our defense yet. Yeah. Everybody struggles until they play us.
We made Kirk Cousins turn the season around because he played us.
I know.
Cousins is an MVP, but yeah, honestly though, and it's just again, going back to reiterating what Malcolm Jenkins said earlier about where now that he openly put out the difference from last year from what that turnaround was at the end of the year. He specifically pointed out, well, yeah, things changed because we put Nick Foles out there. Then that is telling me that the whole players, all those veterans, it's Carson Wentz's team, but he's playing with Nick Foles players, if that makes sense to you guys.
Well, yeah, the offense doesn't fit. I agree with that.
And I do, and I honestly, and I know we've been seeing it I know Max Kellerman, as crazy as he is, sounds like what he's been saying the last several weeks about the team, the players, not probably being sold on one guy as opposed to the other. I'm honestly now it's starting to feel more like that. And the fact that now Malcolm Jenkins just really put it out there that said, yeah, well, the difference from last year, why we went on a run. Well, when Nick Foles came in, we changed everything up and we all had to tighten up. And I'm like, really? That now it's quite obvious. Everybody that was speculating it, and the fact that it's coming from Malcolm Jenkins, one of the leaders on the team, the fact that he's able to go ahead and say this now, pretty much acknowledging that, then I'm just ready to be like, okay, get rid of this Foles team, man. We moved on from Foles. He was the first one gone. Get rid of everybody else, and then we got to start bringing in some young guys who are hungrier. That's why I made my video earlier about cutting Darren Sproles and keeping Boston Scott in, because I'm ready to see what Boston Scott can go ahead and do. I like what he saw in the return game. Unfortunately, we had an illegal block in the back penalty that he had a great return, a great punt return, and there was a penalty called, held him back. We see how he runs at the end of the game. Now, granted, it's garbage time, but damn it, I see a guy out there that is hungry, that is trying to take advantage of every time he can go ahead and get the ball. He's out there running hard. So I'm all for keeping Boston Scott a younger, faster guy rather than an older Darren Sproles. I'm ready to be done with Darren Sproles. I want to keep Andre Dillard out there. Have Andre Dillard build up more chemistry. He's going to be the one that's blocking for Carson Wentz for the next 10 years. We don't need to put Jason Peters back out there and take away our first-round rookie and put him back on the bench. Keep Jason Peters on the sideline. And in my opinion, if we're going to make a trade for a fast wide receiver. No DB. I think this scheme, I think the defense itself is already shot. I don't think a cornerback, I don't want a quarterback at all. I think a cornerback is going to come here and he's just going to go ahead and be part of this tragic scheme, this non-pass rush, no run defense at all. A cornerback is going to come into our system and fail. So if we are going to go ahead and make any type of trade, you got to get a fast wide receiver. And once again, Robbie Anderson has been in the reports again now. Now I'm starting to see Robbie Anderson his name has been coming up. What do you guys think about that?
From the Jets, personally, I like Robbie Anderson. I don't think they're going to put him out there, though. I see reports, but at the same time, with reports, sometimes it's usually fake news. Robbie Anderson is a marquee player for the New York Jets, in my opinion. I think he's a very good talent over there. And even though they're getting waxed this year, they're not having a good year. They're just not going to give him up for anything. So that's another thing where they're going to go up to Howie Roseman and be like, if they are putting him on the block, if they go up to Howie Roseman, they're going to be like, we want this, we want that. And it's going to be too much for Howie Roseman. So what's the point? It's Howie Roseman does not want to give away the draft capital. As I see in the chat, the people in the chat are saying, it's all about draft capital, and Howie Roseman is too cheap to give that up. He loves the draft picks, even though he can't draft to save his life. So, to be honest with you, as long as Howie runs his team, I can't really change my opinion on him. I think he's a schmuck. But at the same time, I can hope for the best, I guess. And I just don't think that – I think the season's a lost cause. I don't see any way how we could rebound from this, especially from that Dallas loss. And I think we're going to get waxed by the Bills. And when you talk about Josh Allen not having a great season, that guy can throw for 70 yards. And guess what? Our secondary is the worst in the league. So I think he'll have a career day versus us. And I think we're going to lose by 20 points if that's anything.
No.
Yeah.
I think that what happens against Buffalo will determine what the Eagles do. I think if they lose, I don't think they're going to make any moves. I think they're going to sit still, maybe even trade somebody off. If they win, I think there's a chance that they do something. But to me, I agree with Darius that it's got to be a wide receiver. It's got to be a speed wide receiver. You're not going to fix the secondary. Mm-hmm. And to me, the most mind-boggling thing right now is that the best wide receiver is sitting at home waiting for a phone call.
Antonio.
And that's all you have to do.
Yep.
All you have to do.
You say it every week. You say it every week.
I know. And the more I think about it, the more I just don't understand it, because you're going to blow this thing up anyways after the year. We know they got to clean house. They got to get this team. They're going to have to do what Seattle did for Russell Wilson. And they're going to do it. So what kind of cancer can he be for 8 weeks to destroy a team that's already going to get destroyed at the end of the year? You have nothing to lose. Bring him in. The hell with it.
Yeah. And Mega in the comment section said, Frank Gore is going to run all over us. Frank Gore, 37-year-old Frank Gore is going to run all over us. And guess what, Mega? I believe it. That's how bad.
Here's the other thing, though. I think it's not like these guys don't play for Carson Wentz because it's Carson Wentz. These guys don't play because they're not hungry anymore. Yeah. They're well paid. They've won a championship. They're older. Kelsey was thinking about retirement. Like I told you earlier, I watched the 2017 games to try to figure out what was going on and look at the differences. And one of the things is I never see the offensive lineman pick up a running back. They never help anybody up. They never help Carson up. They never help Sanders or Howard. They just go back and huddle. And in 2017, they were helping everybody up. So I just think that this team isn't hungry.
No, you could be right. And the whole Jason Kelsey thing. I'll get back to Darius in a second, but the whole Jason Kelsey thing about him being halfway out the door. To me, it's kind of showing, because when you're halfway out the door as a National Football League player, a vicious sport at that, and you come back for the money, your head's not all there. You're just coming back for a paycheck. Your love isn't really in the game anymore.
They had to give him money, throw money to get him to stay.
Yeah. When your head's not in the game anymore, no amount of money could fix your game.
Yeah.
It's not possible. That's why Chris Long isn't coming back, because he decided to retire and he's gone.
He knows it. He knows.
Yeah.
I agree.
To me, this is why the greats, like, the Warriors, for this half decade, the Patriots for the last 2 decades, Floyd Mayweather throughout his whole entire career, when you reach that pinnacle of winning the championship, you settle down because you've accomplished what you worked for your whole entire life. So you tend to go ahead and slow down. That's why it's so rare to go ahead and have a dynasty, or in sports in general, just to go ahead and just keep this paced up. Like, sorry to bring them up, Nitro Freak, but the damn Astros as well. They're back in the World Series, and they just won it a couple years ago as well. Like, and this is what you're hoping to see from this Eagles team, is just to go ahead and keep what you just started. But sometimes the mindset of just like, you know what, We finally accomplished it. And I think it's definitely different for the Eagles because we know how much a championship means to the city and finally just winning that first one. And I think the players, they for sure felt it as well. So they felt the weight of the city and the fans and everybody who has been waiting for that championship. And now that that was accomplished, I feel like a lot of them has definitely taken a step back. I'm going to bring up guys like, like the Seattle Seahawks of 2013 when they finally won Seattle that first Super Bowl. They stuck with all their players and those guys. I mean, they should have won the Super Bowl the following year, but even after that, because it was pretty much Pete Carroll's dumb choice, that blew up that whole locker room. But then from there, you saw all their veteran players getting hurt now, getting older. Cam Chancellor retired, and it just happens like that. It's that Super Bowl window. When you win that Super Bowl window is already closing, which is why you see the Patriots. What the Patriots are able to go ahead and do is keep their nucleus with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, continue to revamp that roster. I've seen them. They made the Super Bowl, 4 straight years or 3 straight years or so. And when we beat them, and even the Falcons too, they put up 28 on them. We beat them. We put up 41. And guess what they did? They're like, you know what? Even though we made the Super Bowl the last 2 years and we won one of them, this is not good enough. We got to focus on defense. And now they have the best defense in the NFL, and they're about to go ahead and win a 7th ring. Yeah. But what we did, even though we won the Super Bowl, we got complacent. We said, well, even though Tom Brady threw for 500 yards on us, this is fine. The scheme is fine. The secondary is fine. We didn't even bother changing it up. I'm over here looking like, well, yeah, I hope it doesn't have to take us to go ahead and score 41 points to win another Super Bowl. And then now you're starting to see our secondary getting more exposed last year, and then now they're just bottom tier this year. So we just got complacent. We just got complacent. I think that we are just sort of feeling a bit entitled as well. We're like, okay, well, because we just won a Super Bowl, we could just go ahead and do it our own way, and that's not the case anymore. You got to bring in new guys that is going to be hungry, that has not experience of winning a championship and that wants to fight.
It's funny. You brought up a good point about the Patriots. The Patriots win a Super Bowl, and the next week they're back to work. All right. And this is a comparison to the Eagles championship. After the Eagles won the championship, I swear to God, it was in June. I was in I think it was May. I was in a playoff basketball game for the Sixers. All right, and all of a sudden I look inside the link because they have windows where you can see outside when you're walking out of Wells Fargo. There was green lights and there was a fucking disco ball. And they were still dancing inside. They were still having a big party, and that's where you compare the teams that have been there before and the teams that have just won. And honestly, you just brought up a good point because I still think we're on that Super Bowl high.
Yeah.
I just don't think we've ever gotten back to that team because we think it's so easy to do it when it's not.
Right.
It is not easy to win a Super Bowl, and we are figuring this out right now. And getting back to the playoffs last year. That was luck, all right?
Man.
We just going to lose that last game, and we got it. That was totally lucky. Then we beat the Bears. We were still in the Super Bowl high at that point, thinking we couldn't get beat because we were the hottest team going into the playoffs. Then we get up 14-0 against the Saints. We think, oh, shit, we're going back to the Super Bowl. We were still on that high. All of a sudden, we lose. And all of a sudden, we're in really bad shape. So what does that tell you? The Super Bowls are not easy.
Not easy. Not at all.
Nope.
And I think we probably brought too many old guys back. I think it's okay to keep some of them, but I think we just overdid it. We just overdid it. And look, the truth is we haven't been good drafting. Really, we have not drafted well. The reason we're all talking and crying about a corner is because they missed on Sidney Jones. If they would have hit on him, we wouldn't have this problem. Mm-hmm. Derek Barnett, he's a 13th, 14th pick overall. And he was hurt last year and some of this year, I guess he wasn't healthy to start. But he's not getting us 13 sacks, 14 sacks, 10 sacks this year. And we talk about not being able to get sacks on the quarterback. So these picks have to hit. They have to hit. And they're not. And I think we're slow. I think we're one of the slowest teams in the skill position in the National Football League. We're so slow. And you have a quarterback. When we talk about fitting, he needs fast guys. He needs speed. And the Eagles have to revamp this offense, this entire team. They don't have to clean. You don't have to start over. You still have a franchise quarterback, but you got to start building around him and gearing your offense towards him. Look what Reed did, right? I heard this on the radio today. They were saying that Doug Peterson was with Kansas City with the Alex Smith offense.
Yeah.
And that's what we're kind of running. And basically, Andy Reid scrapped that whole offense when Mahomes came in and changed everything around because it had to fit your quarterback. That's what the Eagles have to do this offseason with Carson Wentz. No doubt about it.
They got it.
You know what's kind of funny about that is that the offense itself, and I mean, I think that's why it was so great with Mahomes his first year and even still now, is that that offense was explosive already. But honestly, Alex Smith's arm was really, Alex Smith's arm compared to Patrick Mahomes, it's not comparable whatsoever. So with that explosive offense that they had, but Alex Smith sort of holding it back a bit. That's why I made it so much more easier for Patrick Mahomes, a guy who could just sling it out there, who wants to throw downfield, step in there and just right off the bat win MVP, and was pretty much on pace this year until he got hurt. But I mean, it just showed me, like, look at all these guys that's just getting separation, opening it downfield. I mean, obviously Tyreek Hill's the main one to go ahead and point out, but all these other guys as well that they're shifty, they're crafty guys, and they get separation. And you look at the drafts that we've been doing, we have 6'3" Alshon, 6'4" Mac Hollins, 6'3" Arthego Whiteside, 6'6" Goddard, 6'5" Zach Ertz. This is just like, what are we running, a basketball team here? Like, I know basketball season starting tonight, but sheesh.
Yeah.
Like,
we're too slow. I mean, every Kansas City player, every receiver, they're fast.
Yeah.
They're fast and they get open. And look, I don't mind having one big possession physical receiver, but the Arthego Whiteside draft, I'm sorry.
Stinks.
He can't get separation. He's slow. You could have had DK Metcalf. You tell me what the hell's going on? Yep. I don't understand what the personnel's thinking, because it doesn't fit your quarterback. If you put Patrick Mahomes in this offense, he would struggle, just like Carson, because it doesn't fit what he does. You got to make your offense fit what he does. And I would fire Mike Rowe as soon as I can. I would have fired him after this game. I think he has to go. He stinks.
Yep.
He has to go. He has to go.
Absolutely. And, it just sucks, like, reminiscent on what happened in the Super Bowl. But, seeing that Dallas game, it's like, how quickly can you drop off? It's sickening. And, 2 days after, I had a great trip in Dallas, like I said, but, just sitting there in the stadium, it's like, you're like a bottom tier team, like a bottom 5 team. And I'm like, how did this franchise become so bad and so piss poor out of nowhere? It's just, it has to be that they won a championship and they don't care. It has to be, because none of this makes any sense.
I don't think they care. I mean, we've talked about it before. You see a couple guys trying. I see Brandon Graham trying. I see Fletcher Cox try most of the time. A couple times I thought he took the playoff. You see Carson fighting with the Vikings guys because he's hungry, because he has a lot to prove. Yep. But a lot of these other guys are not hungry. They don't play. I mean, why are they late for practice? Why are they late for meetings? Yep. Why is this coming out now? Why isn't Doug doing anything about it? This all affects everything. It trickles down. And I don't care that Malcolm Jenkins and Brandon Graham said they didn't see it. They're good teammates. They're not going to speak. Yeah. That's what I would have said. If I was them, I would have said the same exact thing. But I don't believe it for a second. Right. Something is fundamentally wrong, and it's starting with how this team responds to Doug Peterson and the way they're acting in the locker room. I mean, he went out on a limb saying, we're going to go down and beat Dallas, and none of them even cared. None of them even stuck up for him.
Well, because
there was no fight.
And we'll get to Darius in a second, but the reason why I feel like it also backfired is because they released Zach Brown on some stupid comments that he said, and then when Doug Peterson says it, nothing bad happens to him. Yep. It's like kind of like a double standard. And I agree with it, but I don't agree with it, but that's just how it is sometimes. What were we gonna say, Darius?
Philly.500, because that definitely, from what you said about the whole Carson Wentz situation, what happened against the Vikings when he got into it, and then you didn't like how the offensive line was just really not trying to be there and just was in a hurry to get him out of there. I was and we're trying to figure out, who's telling, him to go ahead and check it down and all that kind of stuff. And they're saying it's Alshon, but like what they're pointing out, I saw last week on Speak for Yourself on how they went back to the play with the whole 7 seconds and against the Lions, a 3-man pass rush where, Wentz might have held on to it for too long. And in the offensive line, they just stood up and then watched Wentz just get tackled get sacked by all 3 of those defensive linemen. And they stand there and don't even help him up as well. And then against the Vikings, he was getting into it. With the freaking Vikings defensive line. I'm over here now speculating. Damn, could they have been the one to now have said something about Wentz? I mean, because if you think about it, if you're an offensive line, you don't want to be blocking for more than 3 seconds. To be honest, the offensive line, as great as they are, they're also the laziest hogs that they're out there.
Yep.
And
Look,
part of Carson Wentz's game, I mean, you get the pros and cons of having a quarterback that extend plays or might hold on to the ball too long. Sometimes, like pretty much naturally as an offensive lineman, they don't want to block for that long. And honestly, I mean, I can see an offensive lineman perhaps be saying that, and it won't surprise me to see if an offensive line, like if that unit itself, and even Brandon Brooks tweeted something funny last week too. Brandon Brooks, he put out something that was, I think I want to go back to that tweet, where if he's even now saying something about that situation, maybe it's within that lineman. And I'll tell you, that would be very scary if you have your own offensive lineman that might be thinking that about your quarterback.
Well, look, I mean, if whoever said it, if it's an offensive lineman, you need to cut him. I don't care if it's Lane Johnson, I cut him.
Oh, wow.
Because here's my thinking. Every other big play quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, for years people hold the ball too long. You have a quarterback who is trying to win every play. And if you're bailing on him because you don't like that he don't get the ball out quick enough, then you got to go. Because I watch other teams do it, and you know what they do? They block and shut up and block. And they keep blocking all the way through.
How about this then? Because this is an offensive line that's played with 2 different quarterbacks. One quarterback is designed to just go in an RPO, quick pass, hold on to the ball for 1 to 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. The other quarterback is, okay, if I don't have my first read, I'm going to look for my second read. If I don't have my second read, I'm going to look for my third read. The one quarterback is, I want to make a play happen every single play, while the other quarterback is like, okay, what are we doing? All right, cool. Handoff, quick handoff, whatever, quick pass, quick all that. So now this is an offensive line. Now this is a unit that one quarterback they blocked for 1 to 2 seconds with, and another quarterback they're blocking, 3 to 4 or 5 seconds with. You know what I mean? So.
But why wouldn't they want to do that with Carson Wentz as they did with Nick Foles? Nick Foles, he made the designs, he made the offense run perfectly. Why are they trying to make Carson Wentz do so much when he doesn't have to and it's not working? That's just something I don't get with this coaching.
But here's the thing.
I don't get it.
Here's the thing. Nick Foles has been gone all year. He hasn't been practicing with this team or how to play again. This is a year ago. He's been gone. Yeah, there's no reason for this. For the offensive lineman to trying to force your quarterback to be something he's not. You don't put a square peg in a round hole, and that's what they're doing.
Did you see that one play where they stopped playing for him because he was taking?
I did, and I don't like it. I don't think 99% of these teams, especially a playoff team, I don't believe any of their offensive linemen would stop for them. I could go back and watch. I could go watch Ben Roethlisberger scramble. I could go watch Rodgers. I don't see anybody standing around.
Well, Philly, the problem with this is people think that offensive linemen are in the perfect shape to run like 50 to 65 plays a game when they're not. They get the most tired on the field. And to be completely honest with you, people think it's Madden out there where you can just block like that every single play.
Well, listen, there's another problem you're not thinking about. The reason he's holding on the ball isn't just because he's holding on the ball. Maybe guys aren't getting open because they can't get open.
Throw it away.
Maybe they're not blocking. So what are you going to do? Say, okay, 1, 2, 3, let me throw it away.
Or run for the first down.
And then what happens? Then they say, oh, he shouldn't be running. He's going to get hurt again. The guy can't win no matter what he does.
But when the quarterback runs for the first down, it keeps the secondary guessing, and then it opens up things down the field.
Right, and we're also talking about a guy that's been injured for 2 straight years.
I was gonna say, hold on.
He got
paid. honestly, Nitro Freak, like about that though, like I'm not gonna like I saw what you tweeted earlier about Carson Wentz, about how earlier in his career, his MVP season,
Yeah.
he didn't hesitate to run and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually legitimately was watching some highlights and I teared up a bit watching that season. But seeing Carson Wentz running then to running now, it's you could kind of see it. You could kind of see where the knee and the back, when you hurt your knee and your back, you're going to be a bit slower. And I honestly do think that it's also in his head where maybe I'm not going to be running as much as I should. But also at the same time, I do see it just a bit where he perhaps lost a step there. And if he's lost a step, I don't want to have a slower Carson Wentz to be running like that. And now it's a tough situation because I do hear what you're also saying, Philly.500, about getting receivers, like faster receivers. And trust me, I think we're all on board on getting new receivers as well. And now it's just like, what the hell are we gonna? What the hell are? How are we gonna set up our franchise quarterback now? The guy that we are paying 128 million, because that's how everybody's now seeing him, as a $128 million quarterback. No more under his rookie contract. He's a young guy, even though he's still technically a young quarterback, only in his fourth year. Everybody's going to see him as that big payday kind of quarterback now. And right now we are a team that's honestly not even setting him up for success now, because we're trying to tell him throw downfield with slow wide receivers with an offensive line that honestly got spoiled for doing a quick RPO offense, that the offensive line looked better. The offensive line looked better with an RPO offense than what they do right now. So it's just like you get slow receivers and an offensive line that's the offensive line that is probably what they give up. They literally stand up after blocking for more than 5 seconds. What are we gonna do? What is the coaching staff gonna do?
They sound like a bunch of little bitches. That's what they sound like. A bunch of little bitches crying because they got to block an extra second.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. I watched Mike Vick. He held the ball long. Randall Cunningham held the ball long. These offensive linemen didn't cry like little bitches. These guys are crying. Look, he's going to be what he is. He's always going to hold the ball on. It's just the way it is. And they're going to have to deal with it. But I look at it a lot of times like, man, you know what? He's holding the ball because nobody's open. I mean, I'm not saying he's always perfect. Like the instant where he got sacked on the safety blitz, should have seen it. It's his fault, right? And he deserves blame. But, man, if you're playing quarterback and I'm playing for you, man, and you're holding the ball 2 more seconds than I want you to, you think I'm going to complain or give up or stop trying to protect you? No, I would never do that. Why they do it is because they don't give a shit if they win or lose. They're there for a paycheck. That's how I see it.
Right. Well, the other thing about Carson Wentz holding on to the ball too long, you would think by now that his offensive line hasn't been up to par since the Super Bowl season. You'd think that you'd try a little bit harder to get it out quicker. That's just my opinion. Listen, I know there's a lot.
I have a question, though.
Yeah,
do you think the offensive line was good this week?
Do I think it was good this week? No, I don't think anyone was good this week.
I mean, he didn't have a lot of time to even throw it 2.5 seconds.
On that Marcus Lawrence strip sack, he had 4 seconds.
Well, that's one play. What about every other play?
And people are like, the pocket's collapsing and all this. And I'm looking at film, and I'm seeing a guy that's holding on to the ball like this, not even letting it out, holding on to like.
But look, when you got Nelson Aguilar who runs through open coverages into coverage, you got Alshon Jeffrey who's slow as molasses right now. You got Matt Collins who's daydreaming about being on special teams.
Matt Collins stinks.
I mean, maybe there's just nobody open. I love a quarterback that wants to win every play, kick your ass every play. That's what I love. I love it. That's why he's the North Dakota assassin.
The reason why I'm now like, obviously, my heart was just torn between the two quarterbacks, and if it was up to me, I'll be paying Foles $22 million to be a backup over here because I'm financially irresponsible like that. But hey,
no. Hey, look, that's better. You're getting more value than Deshaun Jackson right now.
Hold on, Darius, for 1 second. This guy in the comment section is saying he has no one to throw to. He has Zach Ertz. He has Alshon Jeffrey. Where was Miles Sanders? All right, Miles Sanders has been catching balls consistently for the last, 3 weeks?
What about all the drops, too?
All right, they're dropping balls. Go back to them. What does Tom Brady do when his receivers drop the ball? He goes back to them.
I can't go back to Nelson Aguilar anymore.
Keep going back to him.
Can't.
If he's wide open and he doesn't catch the ball, it's his fault. He's the wide open guy. Keep going back to him. He's on.
I mean, Alshon dropping balls too.
Yeah, he's dropping balls.
He hasn't been right.
Alshon has not been good this year. I understand that. But, you got to keep going back to the open man on the field. If they drop the pass, it is their fault.
But what I'm saying, they're not open. That's why when he throws, they get tackled.
He tries to look for someone else because he doesn't trust the guy.
Hold on. So honestly, then what the hell we do against the Bills defense?
We get ass kicked.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It's going to be a look. We got a shot in that game, but that defense is nasty.
We have no shot.
Dallas.
None.
Then we're in big trouble.
We're done. We're done.
I mean, I think so if you look at our best offensive performances, you'll say it's against Green Bay and it's against the Redskins. Now, Redskins game, we are pretty much going to put it because Deshaun Jackson was out there, and in the Packers game, we ran for pretty much almost 200 yards. And it seemed like what teams did now was they're just like, okay, well, all right, have a good day, Dad. It seems like what teams did, they realized, okay, well, let's go ahead and press down a little bit and focus a little bit more on Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders, because that seemed to that's what helped that offense thrive against the Packers. And you saw what the Jets game I'm not going to count because it's Luke Falk and it was a third-string quarterback. But Jets game was actually a bit interesting too because our offense did not look good that game as well. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, yeah, that's something to actually acknowledge. The Vikings as well, and then the Cowboys. So teams already pick up on Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders, the running game immediately because of no Deshaun Jackson now. So now that there's no Deshaun Jackson and teams are now pressing up on the box to stop Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders, in my opinion. Because we cannot keep doing this every single week after week and wait till Deshaun Jackson is back when the team itself was suggesting him to get surgery. But I don't know why. On Crip, he did not want to go ahead and get surgery whatsoever. But in my opinion, honestly, you got to honestly look. You see Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is a good friend of ours in New York. What's it going to be? Because Robbie Anderson is 26 years old. I think 25 or 26 years old. I would be willing to give up a day 2 pick for a 26-year-old fast receiver that I know we can get a solid 3 to 4 years out of. We can good.
How many years does he have left? How many years does he have left on his contract?
This is his contract year. However, knowing that he's still young, he's still very young. It won't be like a Golden Tate trade where we only get him for 1 year or a Jay Ajayi trade where only 2 years.
Oh, I have one thing to add to this.
Okay.
Did you guys watch this Giants game last week?
Arizona?
Did you see Golden Tate everywhere, catch everything?
Yeah.
How come we couldn't use him like that?
Because Mike Rowe doesn't know how to use him.
Well, this is what I'm saying though. If Golden Tate can't get open in our offense, what do you think anybody else's? You know what I mean? As soon as he goes somewhere else, he looks like $1 million.
Damn. Yeah. I remember he did catch a big touchdown over the Patriots defense as well. And honestly, I think, and then Frank Reich, he's beating Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson on the road. They're in first place with Jacoby Brissett, no Andrew Luck. That's something that people have been calling out as well all week. Like maybe I don't know. Is it Doug Peterson? Is it Mike Groh? Is it the entire coaching staff?
I seriously think we have several issues. Like, I think we have several issues going on with the defense, with the offensive coordinator, with the lack of personnel, with the lack of execution, with everybody not playing up to their levels, including Carson Wentz, the whole team. We have so many issues. And when I see all these trades happening, I swear to you, I wonder if the front office knows and they're just like, let this thing blow up. And if they lose, we'll get better pick because we can't win with this team. I'm starting to wonder that.
Nope, it's ridiculous. And honestly, I don't know what we got to do to fix this bullshit. I just see we have way too many holes, and maybe Howie shouldn't make a trade at this point. Maybe you're right. I'm just sick and tired of seeing this team because growing up, I've seen a lot of teams where they would actually, growing up, I haven't seen a lot of teams where they were done in week 7. I haven't, and it's just bullshit because you're not even 2 years away removed from the Super Bowl. You're not even 2 years removed. You're not. And you look right now like a 5-win team. And it's bizarre. Like, it really is. And you can blame injuries all you want, but I'm sorry. Like, we had all this talent, and, like, where the hell did it go?
Got old.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, again, I think this just goes back to the whole again, it's so rare in sports to keep a dynasty up, and that's why you need to have a strong nucleus, a strong core, and just surround everybody else with like new hungry talent. It just happens in sports, I guess, when you work so hard to win the ultimate title. And I mean, even Conor McGregor, he was the best fighter in the game out there, got his $100 million payday, and that was it. He got his payday. He's like, I'm good, guys. Like, you know what I mean? And Seattle Seahawks, these one-hit wonders, the Saints, they win their Super Bowl, and then how many consecutive 7 and 9 years that they had? It's with Drew Brees. So honestly, the Eagles, and I get it. We're emotional. We get attached to some of these players, but there's a reason why the Patriots are where they're at, because what they say is, hey, look, thank you for winning us the Super Bowl. I don't see no use for you anymore because I know for sure these tires, we need new tires. These tires are already worn out. When you're playing 19 games in a season, it's football. This is not baseball. This is not basketball. This is football. 19 games in a year. When you're hitting from July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, that's 8 months. That's 8 months from training camp to that Super Bowl. That's 8 months of being in pads, and then add that quick 2 weeks here and there in the off season. These guys, the tires worn out. The tires ran out on these guys, and I think honestly, unfortunately, we thought that they had one more season in them. That's why we were going all out this off season. But I think last year, that end of the season run was it. I think that was all they had in the gas tank. That was it. Because now we're just seeing a team that's getting blown out, not just 1 week, but back-to-back weeks. And that scares the hell out of me, man. And it's upsetting.
We're going to find out this week. I really believe this week, the way they come out, if they have no fight, if they have no effort, if they don't play hard, if I see the same things, then I know we're done. If we can win this game, I think that they're going to make a move to try to get better and make one more run. But I think it's going to depend on this game. And if they lose this game, I would strongly consider starting to sell off some of my older guys, including Zach Ertz. And a lot of people aren't going to like it. But the truth is you could sell him high right now and get a pick. Because if you go 3-5 with having to play Seattle and New England, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know how you rebound from that.
And you're gonna invest in Dallas Goedert if you get rid of Zach Ertz.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it depends on what happens. I think if the Eagles win, they're 4-4. They traded for Golden Tate last year at 4-4. So I think they'll make a move. It's just what? I mean, you see guys like Gary and Conley get traded. Marcus Peters gets traded. Today, I've been talking about Emmanuel Sanders. He goes to San Francisco. I mean, people are getting moved, and the Eagles aren't doing anything. We hear that they contact about players, but they're not paying. And now I'm starting to think with the aggressiveness that Howie Roseman usually has, for him not to be doing it, there may be such an issue in this locker room that we really don't know yet, that he knows he's just going to gut this whole thing, and he's not going to invest. Right. Unless they can show him it's worth it.
Yeah, you made some quality points there. But before we get out of here, because we're running on to an hour, I want to get your guys' thoughts and predictions on this Buffalo Bills game. How do you think it's going to break down and what we have to do to win? I'll start, and I'll basically say that I don't see how any way in hell that we're going to win this game. And that's not because I'm just down in the dumps. I just think that we're not a very good football team. And a lot of people are underrating this Buffalo Bills team. I see some people in the comments section saying that they're overhyped because of the teams that they beat. But let me tell you something. The defense is stepping up to play. They have a great atmosphere at home. They almost beat the Patriots. And it looks like they're having a great year up there. And what makes you think that if we can't beat the Cowboys, a rivalry game, on the road where, it's either 50-50 because their stadium's not really a home field advantage, what makes you think that if we can't even stay close to the Cowboys, that we're going to go up to a Buffalo Bills team, a pretty decent team this year, and win a game that we desperately need with the kind of slop that we have? I just don't know. I don't see how this game isn't any close. I don't see how it's like not a 14-point game. I can't see it. Like, I'm sorry. But I hope we do win. But my score prediction for this game, I'm going to go 28-14 Buffalo.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I'm going to say that I see where you're coming from. You make a lot of good points. And that would be the logical thinking. But because the NFL is so unpredictable and because the Eagles took such a beating and all the drama, I have a feeling this team is going to come together. They're going to go win a tight game. I think Buffalo, look, I think they got a great defense. I think they got a better defense than Dallas. But I'm underwhelmed by their offense still, although they can probably move the ball on us. And I think the Eagles are going to go in and they're going to battle, and it's going to be one of these gut games, and maybe it'll give us some momentum. I'm going to say Eagles win 24-20, 21.
24-21? All right.
I honestly, not sure what you're saying about, like, how this team just fell flat. And to see that performance on a big stage following a week where you already got embarrassed by Kirk Cousins, and then you're stepping up into a game against Dallas for to pretty much control the division. You'll be in first place with the win, and that performance. Like, again, that's so gutting. But I honestly do feel like. I can see a low-scoring, ugly, close win. I mean, again, Buffalo, it reminds me back in 2011. This is literally 2011 all over again. Eagles, they had a slow start to the season, and Buffalo, they came out starting hot. They came out starting hot with Fitzpatrick, and then they ended up beating us on a close game at the end, towards the end. I honestly see this game being like a 17-14 game. It could go either way, but at this point in time, I've seen Josh Allen throw, bro, and he will throw. He makes mistakes himself. It doesn't matter what our secondary will give him. His accuracy is just horrendous, and I feel like a couple gifts from Josh Allen will go ahead and switch things around for us, and we could go ahead and sneak away with an ugly win. So I say 17-14 Eagles.
And let me tell you, that's kind of torturous for us in a way, because then we're 4-4, and the trade deadline is that Tuesday, and you might see the Eagles make a move, and it may set us up for more heartbreak later in the year. I mean, that's typically what happens.
If they make a move, I hope it's a player that they're going to invest in for the next 3 to 5 years in Philly. I honestly really hope it's Robbie Anderson with all my heart. I hope it is
Robbie Anderson. I'd be okay with Devontae Parker, but I'm telling you what, I just want Antonio Brown. I just want to be done with this shit.
We all
just get him and put him in and just look. I'm serious. Why can't they call him and say, look, you need a team. We need a receiver. You give us 8 good games, 9 good games, maybe playoffs. Wherever you go next year, we will call that team. We will say you were a great person in the locker room. You were perfect. All you have to do is come and do that, and you'll get your big paycheck.
Right.
That's all they have to do, and he'll do it because he's got no choice.
Or maybe he'll re-sign here. You never know.
Yeah, or maybe. I mean, and then he'll go out and kick everybody's ass. And I swear to God, that whole offense would look completely different with him. And some people go, well, he's not that great of a player. Somebody told me that he reminds him of Freddie Mitchell. I'm like, you've never watched Antonio Brown before. Swear. You do that, everything changes. And to me, that's like the easy, no-brain move right now. And it's not guaranteed money. It's cheap.
Yep.
And look, I still might go get Robbie Anderson or Devontae Parker with him. That's how inept all these wide receivers are. So I know they won't do it. They don't want they don't want the crap storm that's going to come with it. But to me, if I ran a team, I would do it because you have a fractured locker room. You have stuff going on there anyways. What is he going to do? You're blowing this thing up at the end of the year. It makes no sense that he's still out there.
None. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, honestly, and I hope we do something to make it come to fruition. But we'll see what happens. But this was a great stream yet again.
Yep.
I'm glad to have you guys on every single week. Hopefully, I have you guys on for the weeks to come. This is a great stream. Maybe we'll switch it around. We'll have it on YouTube. Darius' channel next week. Maybe Philly.500.
Yeah.
One other week. We'll switch it around. Hopefully, we make this a weekly thing because I love talking to you guys. And yeah, thanks for coming on. So I had it 28-14 Buffalo. You had it 24-21 Eagles, and Darius had it 17-14. I think was it the Eagles?
Yep, Eagles.
Eagles. All right, you got the Eagles. I got Buffalo. All right, that'll do it. You guys have anything else to say?
Thanks for having us on. It was a blast again. I enjoy the Carson debate. It's always fun.
Every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thanks again, man. It's always good to go ahead and hear like everybody's opinion is so different about this team. But at the end of the day, everybody has the same thought about this team, and right now we're all just disappointed and sad because we just want to see wins at the end of the day. When we see wins, it doesn't matter how it happened. I'm a simple guy. I don't care how we win as long as I just see a W right next to that team, right next to that logo where our favorite team, we come out with the win. That's just that makes my whole entire week. So and it makes me feel a lot more comfortable to see how even though we all see this team, we might be seeing this team differently, but like collectively, whenever they disappoint us, we all feel this mutual feeling. So yeah. Thanks. So till next week.
All right, till next week. I love it.
Peace.
All right, see you guys later.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.